Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Zone Radio and I'm Michelle Loxton. The time is 7 minutes past 2. Thank you very much, The Unicorn, for looking after the music for the last couple of hours. And it's that time of the day where they let me do my thing. Every weekday between 2 and 3 p.m. I get to have a chit-chat with such interesting people with such interesting stories. And today is no different. In studio today, I'm very honored to have Lisa Chiat. Lisa is a very well-known radio personality and has been working in the industry for many years. But today she's on the other side of the mic and is in studio to talk about something she is very passionate about. Tell us a bit about you and your career.
Most of my adult life was spent in radio, so I'm very familiar with all these microphones and all these things and the excitement of the mic going on and doing everything live. So
Shake your hands.
I know how you're feeling. I taught before that, and now I'm involved in recording history for future generations in this new project that I've started called Life Stories, which I believe is why I'm here. I go and I film people. I film generally older people, and I interview them about their lives. And the reason that I'm doing that with the film crew, it's not radio, it's visual, is so that future generations, grandchildren and their children, and even the people who've not yet been born, will be able to say, I can put this into the DVD player or whatever it'd be called in those days, or go online, whatever it looks like in future times, and be able to see their great-great-great-great-grandparents speaking and walking around and showing them about their lives. So we're preserving history now. We're making the effort to do it because we have the technology to do it. And then on the website, lifestories.co.za, I enable people to have their own page so that the DVDs that I make, and here they are also divided up into different sections and posted online with photographs as an archive. I get all the footage and I sit and decide what goes in. And there are a lot of photographs old photographs we put into the documentary video, and also old films that have been taken. Remember those 9mm, I think it's 9 or 8mm films that were taken, convert those.
Yes.
So I'm wading through this material for one of the clients who I have to take to the editor, who will then polish it, and then we present it to them. So today was really about looking at old photographs and seeing where I could put them next to where she was speaking, and she's 96. Okay. So I want to get it to her quickly.
Yes. And was this your brainchild? Was this how did this come about?
It's something that just happened because I interviewed my grandfather 20 years ago, just because he was stunning and he was a raconteur and he used to speak beautifully, and we thought he was 88 at the time. So I got a friend of mine who was a professional camera person who brought one of those huge VHS cameras. Remember those ones you used to lug around?
On your shoulder.
No, it wasn't VHS, it was a Betacam camera.
Okay.
Which you'd get terrible backache as a hand rich. As news people, they're serious. These guys are at chiropractors regularly because of those big cameras. And we sat in my parents' home. He lived in the Eastern Cape in PE. And I sat down on the floor, much like I would imagine you doing, Michelle, and I said, tell me about this. He's an immigrant from Eastern Europe, and he told us all these amazing stories. And then it sat, and in those years it was on a Betacam, and then we put it onto a VHS tape, those big, thick things. Remember, you're far too young even to remember. And gave it to my siblings and family members, and, in a nice little pack. And then when DVDs came, we transferred it to there. And then even DVDs, sometimes they get lost. People move country. And so I posted onto YouTube. And also that we could have an archive so I wouldn't get calls from family members. And through that, the idea came to not just film people and capture it, but also archive it online. So I embed these interviews on YouTube, and then I put it onto lifestories.co.za, so everything is there. Kind of like a family thing that turned into a hobby and then into a small business, which I've started. Yeah.
This is Zone Radio, where the music does the talking. That was Gary Wright with My Love Is Alive, and before that, Eric Carmen with Hungry Eyes from that wonderful movie I love so much, Dirty Dancing. And this is Zone Radio. My name is Michelle Loxton, and we are live in studio with Lisa Chiat. You might have heard her in the ad that we're running on Zone Radio called Life Stories. Well, that is the voice of Lisa. Tell us more about Life Stories and how grandchildren are taking the lead.
When we got going, I would do the interviews myself and interview people of all ages the age range is 49. A guy Ricky Dagrella, who traveled around the world in a microlight with his partner, Alan Honeyborn, an incredible record-breaking attempt, and he wanted to tell his story, to 102, she's now 103, Doris Bowles, who's the most amazing woman. She lives in the Muizenberg area. And when that was going, I sort of realized, why have me? Why not have grandchildren or family members leading the interviews themselves? Because people will be able to see them on camera, and they may be 80 or 90, and the generations down the line will want to see what they looked like. So can you imagine that? And we started to do that. And so I've had 2 grandchildren, aged 16, interviewing their grandparents. And I've had Ricky de Agrella's daughter, Tash de Agrella, who happens to live in Adelaide, interviewing Ricky in Cape Town via Skype.
Oh, wow.
So much like what you're doing, we're just integrating all sorts of different ways to plug in, and geography is no problem. So you're in Cape Town, and let's say your grandmom or granddad or parent or whatever is elsewhere in the world, not a problem. We put a camera on you. We get them on Skype. We record the Skype. I think it's just $12 it cost the program that I bought. It's amazing. And it literally records what people are saying on Skype, and then the editor weaves it all together. So it's kind of crossed the generations and also cross-global. And I think it's so special to have grandchildren to do it. Much better than having an outsider, you know.
Yeah, ask those questions. I must say, it brings back so many memories for me because my grandfather used to tell us bedtime stories every time we used to, and the stories, the imagination that he had was amazing, and we wish we had recorded those stories. And you must have met some really interesting characters along the way. I know my mum used to go and work in an old age home, and she met a lady who was a Ziegfeld Folly. And it's
I'd love to have done her.
So you must have met some amazing people.
Yeah, some amazing people. I've done 11 since I started about 6 months ago properly. But every story is amazing because the audience primarily is the family. So someone can be sitting there and telling what seems to be an inverted commas, straightforward, boring story, but it's not for the family.
It's not.
Because if someone said, I grew up in a house somewhere, for us it may be just a little bit interesting. For the family, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
So it's not really about somebody having an unbelievable story, although those are fantastic. It's about the fact that someone is talking about the data of their lives. Whatever you've got, I mean, whether you write it down or take a video with your cell phone, just do it.
And what has the reaction been from the people that you've done this for?
Well, I think I'll tell you, but also on the website, if you go into on the homepage, lifestories.co, I've filmed a little reaction of one of the people, and it's fascinating when you watch people watching themselves talk about their lives, particularly older people. They tend to mouth the same words as you're watching. And also they've got their grandchildren, other people around. So we make a thing of it and everybody watches it. And a lot of them are moved to tears. Certainly the family members are. Not even because it's sad or happy, but just because it's stunning.
Yeah,
and the life is recorded. So no one has said that they regret it.
No, of course not. Well, go and visit Lisa's website, www.lifestories.co.za, and you can learn more. But stay tuned because we're not going anywhere. We're going to be chatting a bit more after some George Michael and Aretha. Stay tuned. This is Zone Radio.
Imagine what it might be like if there had been video cameras during our great-grandparents' times. Imagine having recorded their life stories when they were alive. Record history now by getting Life Stories to film an interview with your parents, yourself, or any family member whose story you want to preserve. Don't be left feeling, I should have recorded him or her when they were alive, and now it's too late. Preserve history now for your children and your children's children.
Another story that's really, really cool is the visual autobiography.
Essentially, there are a lot of people who have said, I want to write a book. But writing a book is a schlep.
Yeah.
And it takes years and years and years. So we come along and in 2 months we basically interview you, and then we can transcribe the interview into text. So we offer a transcription service, and it's sent in a Word document, and you can keep it like that. Or you can put it into a book. Or you can ask us to put it into one of those books that all the photo shops are doing with photographs and all the
books and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have the text right in there. So it's my name is, I was born in, and you don't have to re-interview this person. So it's all done in one. So that's the idea of a visual. Well, he says it's a visual autobiography in the sense that he talks it. But there's also the way that you can lie in bed and just read it.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you.
I'm really honored to have you here, and thank you for everything.